Chua. Well, hello there, and thank you so much for joining me for today's program. Today, we find out what we need to know about running a franchised business. If you already run a business and have been around for some time, you've thought about expanding, but you aren't quite sure if the increased workload and the quality control matters are really worth it. Could starting a franchise be for you? And or if you've always thought about starting your own business but you don't have the contacts or the resources to do so, could buying a franchise be your solution? And what government grants are available for budding entrepreneurs and franchisees? That's what our guest today will be sharing with us. Gary Lowe is the director of Purple Clay Consulting, and part of his work involves advising clients on going about franchising their businesses and helping franchisees get off the ground with their own businesses as well. If you've got a question about the topic for Gary, please call in during the program. 669-11938 is our number. That's 669-11938. Gary, a very warm welcome to Need to Know on 938 Live. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Good afternoon, Joel. Afternoon to all listeners. Thank you for inviting me to the show, Need to Know.
Thank you so much for joining us, Gary. So before we talk about the whole business of franchising, both from the franchisor's perspective as well as from the franchisee's perspective, share with us a little bit more about your company. It's called Purple Clay Consulting. I see you're in corporate colors today. You're wearing a purple shirt. Very interesting name. Tell us about the company. What do you do? What's your profile?
Certainly. Purple Clay Consulting is a franchising and branding consultancy company. We specialize in franchising, franchise marketing, branding, as well as government grant assistance for the small medium enterprise, or what we commonly call the SMEs. So effectively, we will assist SMEs to develop their franchise system, their franchise manuals, look into marketing and selling of their franchise offerings to potential candidates. We look at developing branding systems for company, putting them onto the world map, so that they will have a better value proposition when it comes to selling their franchise. And also, more importantly, in the midst of all this, is to tap on the available government funding to assist these SMEs.
And we'll talk about government funding as well in just a little bit. So you've been around for a number of years now. You've
Yes.
managed to see how the franchise market in Singapore has evolved over the years. We're going to talk about that in just a little bit. But first, give us the definition of what a franchise is. What exactly is a franchise?
Certainly. I think for the benefit of all listeners, effectively, a franchise is really a relationship. It's a relationship between two parties. One is we call the franchisor, and on the other hand, we call the next party the franchisee. It is a relationship whereby there's an exchange of intellectual property, the knowledge, the expertise, the brand of the franchisor to the franchisee in return for a certain form of payment and royalties for a period of time and for X amount of money. Just again, for the benefit of everyone, a franchisor is the one who owns the brand and the knowledge, whereby the franchisee is the party that seeks to obtain that knowledge and the intellectual property in exchange for the fee and the territory.
We'll talk about the benefits for both the franchisor and the franchisee in just a bit. But first, share with us what the state of the franchise market in Singapore is now. How has it evolved? How has it grown over the years?
Certainly, I believe it has grown tremendously. I think there was a very recent article on Straits Times on Monday giving some details on the number of franchise systems in Singapore and how it has grown over the last 10 years. Probably back in the early 2000s, most of the franchising brands were mainly from education and from the food and beverage industry. They occupy, or rather say, they represent a huge chunk of all the franchises in Singapore. However, I think over the last few years, there have been more and more interesting concepts that are away from your food and beverage as well as your education franchise. You see laundry shops, you see automotive maintenance, repair workshops, even geomancy services.
Geomancy
services,
wow, okay.
Right? Or what we commonly known as feng shui. They have also gone down the franchising track, as well as other interesting concepts such as those from the furniture industry, as well as art and music schools.
Right.
They have also tried to expand their business using franchising.
So you've mentioned that there's been a boom in the franchise market here in Singapore. To what do you credit this expansion of the market?
I see it from a few different areas. I think first and foremost, the Franchising and Licensing Association, or what we commonly call FLA, I think they have done an absolutely fabulous job in terms of growing the awareness and the prominence of the franchise industry. They have created a lot of buzz in this industry. They have organized the annual Franchising and Licensing trade show, and also they have actually educated a lot on the public with regards to the franchising industry. I think on the other hand, a lot of the SMEs, they have started to realize that franchising is actually a very effective mode, efficient way of expanding their business without the need to tap on their own financial resources, while at the same time leveraging on the expertise of partners. So I guess it works in both ways. The association has done their part. The industry has become more knowledgeable with regards to franchising as the mean of expansion, rather than through the common ways of joint venture.
Are there certain types of business or certain segments that are more suitable to be franchised and other types of businesses maybe not so suitable?
Interesting question, Joel. There's no one particular industry or sector that is more relevant for franchising. Rather, if we were to look at it, I would normally like to tell franchisors or franchisees that there are 4 areas that one should look at. First and foremost, I think we look at the brand of the company, or rather say the brand of the concept, rather than the industry that it is in. At the end of the day, when a franchisee buys a franchise, he or she is effectively looking at how credible, how worthy is the brand, whether does the brand gives confidence to consumers, whether has that brand been around for X number of years, how long it has been in the market, and that directly correlates to how much franchise fees that the franchisee is willing to pay. The second possible factor that we look at is for businesses that are rich in intellectual property or knowledge. So you tend to find companies in the children's education, in the food and beverage industry, which tends to be franchised. Simple reason being that because for all these education companies, they have a lot of syllabus, content, curriculum, whereas for the F&B companies, they have their secret recipe, they have their specially packed sauces, so they have that intellectual property which can be more easily protected compared to, say, for example, a franchisor in the furniture industry. Right? A third factor would be for a business to have already established their own presence. Again, I think logical sense would tell us that if you do not have your own physical outlet or center or location, it is always going to be a bit harder to convince a potential buyer to become your franchisee. And I think last but not least, really the franchisor should have a team of members who are ready to support the franchisee. I think selling a franchise is the easy part. Maintaining the franchise is always the toughest part.
All right, absolutely. And we'll talk more about that, how you sustain, how you grow your business once you've bought over the franchise license. We're talking to Gary Lowe, Director at Purple Clay Consulting. He advises both franchisors as well as franchisees on starting their businesses. And we'll talk more about what we need to know about running a franchised business in just a little bit. Stay with us for Need to Know. 938 Live. As we continue now with Gary Lowe, the Director of Purple Clay Consulting. Gary, thank you very much for staying with us. So let's continue talking about more specifically why someone who already has a business, has been around for a number of years, wants to expand it, but doesn't want the increased hassle of maybe ensuring things like quality control, finding resources and more staff hires, that kind of thing. All these different considerations that comes with the territory of expanding your business. What are the benefits that becoming a franchisor would give this individual?
Exactly. I think, Joel, as like what you have mentioned, I think a lot of businesses do not want the hassle of facing tough employees, managing their schedule, arranging their workload. So that was one of the reasons that you have correctly stated, whereby franchisors would actually look at expanding their business via franchising rather than establishing their own outlets. I think in the ideal world, we all aim for infinite resources, tons of money, tons of time. But we do know that we are restricted by financial constraints and time constraints. So for franchisors, really one of the benefit is to leverage on the franchisees' financial and time that they have, whereby the franchisee would assist the franchisors to grow their brand, especially to overseas country, whereby a lot of the franchisors do not have the local knowledge, and also to leverage on the networks and contacts of the franchisee in the territory in which the franchisee is operating in.
When it comes to the financial capital, is there any investment that's required on the franchisor's part at all when this individual or company wants to start a franchise?
Certainly, I think when it comes to the franchisor part of the equation, effectively the franchisor would naturally be looking at developing a franchise system. Then that's where actually investment comes into place, whereby a franchise consultant could be roped into the picture to develop a franchise system, to develop the franchise agreement, to develop the franchise marketing kit before even the franchisor can bring it to market to look for potential franchisee. And of course, we can't eliminate the unquantifiable aspect of time, whereby the franchisor got to literally plow through the number of interviews, the franchisees that knocks on their doors, to assess which franchisee is the suitable candidate at the end of the day. So it is really not only about money, but also about time.